What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Marvel's Avengers gear guide video. In this gear guide video, we're going to be taking a look at Miss Marvel and her classic power, exotic, and legendary gear set, also known as a Saffa gear set. So with the classic power gear set, you guys can actually obtain it from any villain sector that's currently in the game or any regular hive or elite hive mission that's also in the game. With those missions, you guys are only able to obtain one gear piece from that set, so just keep that in mind. The best way to obtain the most gear pieces from those missions is through the mission objective with the elite villain sector. So with the elite villain sector, it's a weekly mission objective. You guys will be able to either get a melee or range slot, plus a defense or heroic slot. And there is a chance they can even be legendary or exotic after you complete this objective. So make sure you run this every week for a better chance to getting the gear pieces from the classic power gear set. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move on to her gear pieces and what you can get within this gear set. We'll start off with the heroic piece because this is going to be one of her best gear pieces from this set. This gear piece right here relates to all of her polymorph abilities. So Crest of the Saffa, this can roll with precision, valor, and might like what I have. If you're a melee build, you definitely want to make sure you go with valor and might if you're able to obtain those stats on these gear pieces or this particular gear piece. And there is a chance it can even roll with resolve. Well, let's have a look at the perks. Overdrive, increase the regeneration of polymorph intrinsic energy by 15%. Polymorph Assistance, increase heroic energy charge rate while polymorph is active by 3.5%. Very beneficial in terms of recharging your heroics. And then we have Polymorph Energy Breaker, gain increased damage based on the amount of polymorph intrinsic energy stored up to a maximum of 10%. So polymorph is Miss Marvel's intrinsic ability right here. So a great piece, very good for a polymorph type build. Now moving on to the defensive slot. So this can roll with resilience, resolve, intensity, or two out of the 3 stats. We have Polymorph Spike, 35% increased critical damage from polymorph attacks. Polymorph Surplus, 10% increased polymorph energy. And then we have Lethal Polymorph Restoration, 15% chance to generate a health pack when defeating enemies while polymorph is active. So these two gear pieces can actually go hand in hand. If you are running a polymorph Miss Marvel build, you might as well want to use also something like this. But due to the stats, you're definitely not going to be able to get a lot of, offensive capability out of this gear piece because it is more so a defensive piece. With these type of gear pieces from these, gear sets, they don't roll with the valor or they don't even roll with might and proficiency. This is all based on the defensive stats, resilience and resolve, and then you also have intensity. Maybe in the future they will put other stats on these type of gear pieces, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to the range slot, got a vibranium range one right here. So with the range slot, it can roll with different types of status effects. I got proficiency, intensity, and precision. These are the 3 types of stats that you can get on this gear piece. This is really good for a range type build. Whip Cracker basically means increased damage from landing headshots by 16%. And then we have High Five Assistance. So that is your assault heroic ability, High Five. You'll be able to get an extra ability of High Five to use. And then we have her melee build. I got this with proficiency and might. It came with Pin Particle, and this can roll with different types of melee combos. I would have preferred like light combo finishers or even maybe heavy combo finishers. Signature attacks, it's alright, but I prefer, one of those other 2. So it comes with Polymorph Breaker, increased damage from all attacks while polymorph is active by 15%. And then we have Polymorph Final Breaker, increased damage from all combo finishers while polymorph is active by 25%. So you guys can see with her Saffa exotic gear set, also the classic power gear set, this relates a lot to your polymorph abilities with Kamela. These gear pieces are very beneficial into making a polymorph type build. The only thing I will probably say is just because stats, you might be able to get a better gear piece from other missions to replace the chest piece with. But the heroic slot is really good for a polymorph build, and the melee slot. And overall, the best piece would be the heroic slot to obtain. Then I would go for the melee slot and make sure you do get light or heavy combo finishers on it with a better status effect depending on what you want. And then the defensive slot, and then the range slot. So that was a breakdown of Ms. Marvel's classic power exotic gear set. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For the legendary version of these exotic gear pieces, just remember the third perk will always be different from what the exotic gear pieces are. If you do want to see more Gear Guide videos, show your support by hitting that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I'm out. You guys take care. Peace.